Hello students and welcome to my channel. Today we shall do your chapter 9 verbs, transitive and intransitive verbs from your superb English grammar book. Now as we have already learned that a verb tells us something about a subject, and we have also learned that no sentence is complete without a verb. If there is only one word in a sentence, that one word has to be a verb. Therefore, verb is the main component of the sentence. A verb will always tell us what a person or a thing does, what is done to the person, or what a person or thing is. Now let us see some examples. Go. He bathes. God is great. Do your work. Are you going out? Now in these 5 examples, these sentences are all meaningful sentences. Just the word go, this is only a verb, but it is conveying some sentence saying that go, leave. Next, he bathes. That means some action is being done by him, that is bathing. God is great. Now here is the linking verb. So this statement also makes some sentence which is meaningful. Do your work. Now do is a helping verb. So do is also a verb. Are you going out? Now going is the verb. So in all these sentences, the verb states that the subject is doing something. It is expressing some action, event or state of being. Now the verb is an important part of the predicate of the sentence. We know every sentence has a subject and a predicate. So the verb is an important part of the predicate part of the sentence, which actually gives some meaning to the sentence. Now, example, my dog plays with the tennis ball. Now students, whenever a sentence is given to you, first identify the subject in the sentence. The subject over here is my dog. What is the verb here? Plays. Now, what is the predicate part of the sentence? Plays with the tennis ball. So, my dog plays with the tennis ball. The verb is an important part of the predicate of the sentence. Plays with the tennis ball. The verb is in the predicate part of the sentence. Mother is cooking yummy pasta. First identify the subject. Subject here is mother. Is cooking. Cooking is the verb. Yummy pasta is part of the predicate of the sentence. Your plays and cooking show what the subject dog and mother do respectively. Now students, let us do tryout 1. Identify the verbs in the following sentences and write them in the space provided. Priya ate fried cashew nuts. Now who is the subject here? Priya. What is she doing? She is eating. So the verb here is ate. What is the action being done? Ate. So write down verbs for the first one. Next, Hemant spilled butterscotch ice cream on Shamim's shirt. Who is the subject here? Hemant. What did he do? He spilled or dropped. So the verb here is spilled. Number 3, Reema is a computer expert. Now who is the subject here? Reema. What is her state of being? She is a computer expert. So is the linking word which is linking Reema to her proficiency, which is computer expert. So is the verb here. The teachers looked at the blackboard. Who is the subject here, students? Teachers. What are they doing? They are looking at the blackboard. So the verb here is looked. Number 5. Kiran is feeling happy right now. Now who is the subject about whom we are talking? Kiran. What is his state of being? He is feeling happy. So feeling is the verb here. Number 6. Tinny and Nandita are my neighbors. Now who are the subjects here? Tinny and Nandita. And I am linking these two to being my neighbors. So they are linked by the word linking verb are. So are is the verb here. Number 7. A young person stood by the window. Who is the subject here, students? Young person. The person is the subject. What is he doing? He stood by the window. So the verb is stood. The action done by the person is standing. So stood is the verb here. Number 8. The mobile phone rang with a sweet sound. What is the subject about whom we are talking? The mobile phone. What action has been done by the mobile phone? It rang. So the action word or the verb is rang in this case. Next, students, we will classify verbs. Now, based on their function, they were classified into main verbs and primary verbs in the previous chapter. Now, verbs are also classified into two kinds depending on their action. Action on whom? On the object which they take. So, depending on the action which the verbs perform, they are classified into two kinds. One is transitive verbs and the other is intransitive verb. Now, what do you mean by transitive verb? Transitive means to pass over. Now, a transitive verb is a verb that denotes an action which passes over. The word transitive includes the word transit. Transit means to pass over. This is how you should remember. Transitive verb means pass over. That means pass over to whom? Pass over from the doer or the subject in the sentence to an object. Like for example, Sneha painted a portrait. Now, first thing, whenever verbs come, identify the subject. Subject is Sneha. Now, what is Sneha doing? We'll give you the verb. Sneha is painting. So, painted is the verb. Now, is she just painting or she is painting something which we know about? We know that Sneha painted a portrait. Portrait is the object. So, the action done by Sneha painting is on a object. Therefore, it is a transitive verb. Painted is a transitive verb over here. Next, the boys play football. Now, the boys are the subjects and play is the verb. And football is the object over here which they are playing. So, the action of the boys which is playing is on the object ball. Therefore, such verbs which need an object are called transitive verbs. A verb which will require an object to complete its sense is called a transitive verb. I hope it is clear to you, students. Next, let us do intransitive verbs. What are intransitive verbs? A verb which does not require an object to complete its sense is called an intransitive verb. Or a verb that has no object is called a intransitive verb. Example, John studied here. John, subject, studied, verb, here. It is just understood that John studied here. There is no object here. Rani has come. Rani is the object, has come is the verb. So, in these sentences, there is no object of the verbs. Such verbs which do not require an object are called intransitive verbs. Now, it is important to remember, students, that there are several verbs that can be used both transitively and intransitively. Now, what are they? This family eats dinner together. This family eats together. Now, eats over here is transitive. Why? Because family, the subject, is eating dinner, the object. Therefore, transitive. And intransitive, this family eats together, is used as a intransitive verb here because it is just stating that the family eats together. So, there are certain verbs like eats which can be used both as a transitive verb also and like an intransitive verb also. Next, we will do critical thinking. Try out 2. Find out the verbs from the given text and write them as transitive or intransitive. First thing, when any question regarding transitive or intransitive is given to you, identify the subject, identify the verb, find out if there is an object in the sentence. If there is an object, the verb automatically becomes a transitive verb. If there is no object in the sentence, then it is an intransitive verb. So, first sentence, Napoleon was a very caring general. So, the verb here in this sentence is caring, and it is just stating that Napoleon, his state of being is very caring. Therefore, it is a intransitive verb. Caring is the intransitive verb. He always felt anxious about the welfare of his soldiers. Now, he always felt anxious, which is the verb over here, felt. About what? About the welfare of his soldiers. Now, he is the subject and he is feeling anxious, which is the verb, about the welfare of his soldiers, who are the object. So, felt over here is your transitive verb. His soldiers too deeply loved him. Now, loved is the verb, soldiers is the subject, and whom do they love? Him. That means Napoleon. So, this is also deeply loved is the verb, which is a transitive verb. This love remained in their hearts even when they were dying. Now, this love remained is the verb, in their hearts even when they were dying. That means this is just a intransitive verb. Dying is the intransitive verb. Once a bullet hit a young soldier in his chest. Now, in this sentence, which is the verb? Hit. Now, who is the subject? The subject is the soldier. And what has been done? He has been hit in his chest, which is the object. Therefore, hit is the transitive verb, because the action is being done by the bullet on the young soldier's chest, which is the object. His companions took him to a hospital. Now, your took is the verb, companions is the subject. Where did they take him? They took him to a particular place or an object, which is the hospital. Therefore, took is the transitive verb. Now, as a surgeon or a doctor who performs operations was removing the bullet from the soldier's body. Now, in this sentence, as a surgeon, surgeon is the subject, was removing is the verb, the bullet from the soldier's body, object is there, therefore removing is your transitive verb. The soldier whispered, "Doctor, if you go deeper into my heart, you will find there the emperor himself." The soldier whispered. Soldier here is your subject. He is telling the doctor, if you go deeper into my heart, which is the object, you will find there the emperor himself. So, whispered is your transitive verb. Next, students, we will study about what are direct and indirect objects in transitive verbs. Now, the word transitive means to pass over. So, most transitive verbs take a single object, but there are some transitive verbs which have two objects. Examples of such are give, ask, promise and tell. Now, these verbs, they take two objects after them. Now, what are the two objects? The two objects can either be a thing or a person. If it is a thing, it is a direct object and the person becomes the indirect object. Now, always remember, students, that indirect object or the person will come before the direct object, which is the thing in the sentence. Now, I will explain it to you very much in detail. Please pay attention. Anu writes a letter. Column 1, Anu writes a letter. Sahil has sung a song. Poonam told a lie. Now, from the above example, verbs which are used in column A, what are the verbs? Write, sung and told. These all have one object, letter, song and lie in column A. Now, let us see column B. Praveen gave them a letter. Subject Praveen, gave verb, object them, object letter. Sonam asked me a question. Sonam subject, asked verb, me object, question object. Riya told us a story. Riya subject, told verb, us object, story object. Now, students, do you understand that some transitive verbs have two objects? They are, examples are gave, ask, tell. So, the past forms of them are gave, asked and told. Like I told you, give, ask, promise and tell are some transitive verbs which have two objects. The past form of them have been used in these sentences and explained. Now, in column B, each transitive verb, that means gave, asked and told, has two objects. Thus, transitive verb may take two objects. The object that denotes the person to whom something is given or for whom something is done is called indirect object. Identify the person to whom the letter has been given, them. So, them is the indirect object. Receiver of the action is direct object. The letter has been given, so that is your direct object. Direct object is your thing. Indirect object is the person to whom the something is given or for whom something is done. Now in column B, them, me and us are indirect objects, while letter, question and story are direct objects. Now the object of the verb is a noun or a pronoun. Now let us do this exercise. Try out 3. Underline the indirect objects and circle the direct objects in the given sentences. As we know, direct objects means the things. Indirect objects means the person about whom we are talking about. The shopkeeper sold her a chocolate. First, identify subject, shopkeeper. Next, identify verb, sold. Next, there are 2 objects. The shopkeeper sold her. That means he sold her a chocolate. There are 2 objects, her and chocolate. The her, who is the person, is your indirect object. So please underline her and circle chocolate, which is a thing, which becomes your direct object. Similarly, father sent him a scooter as gift. First thing, identify subject, father, sent, verb, him and scooter are 2 things, 2 objects. One is a person, one is a thing. So accordingly, him being your person is the indirect object, underline, and scooter is your direct object, circle it. His uncle gave him the picture. What are the 2 objects here? Him and picture. Picture is the thing, so please circle. Him is a person, it is a indirect object, so underline. I borrowed a black coat for her. I borrowed. I am the subject, borrowed is the verb, a black coat for her. Her is your object and coat is also your object. Her being the person is your indirect object, so please underline. Coat being your thing is your direct object, so please circle it. Number 5. The manager promised to give him the DVD player. Subject is manager, verb is promised, him and DVD player are your objects. Him being the person is the indirect object, so please underline him and circle your DVD player to be your direct object. Number 6. His teacher gave a book to him. Identify the subject, teacher, gave is the verb, book and him are 2 objects over here. So book being your thing is the direct object, so please circle direct object and underline the indirect object, him. 7. She gave me a piece of shirt. She is the subject, gave is the verb, me is an object, shirt is an object. Shirt being the thing is the direct object, so please circle shirt and underline me to be the indirect object. We made her some articles of daily use. We are the subject, made is a verb, her is an object and article is the object. Article being the thing is the direct object, so please circle direct object articles and underline her as the indirect object. Now students, coming over to number 9. I sold him a bag. I am the subject, sold is the verb, him and bag are your objects. So circle the bag is your thing, which is the direct object. The direct object has to be circled. So circle the direct object and underline the indirect object. Number 10. The director pays him a good salary. Director subject, pays verb, him object, salary object. Now him is your underlined and salary is your circled object. Now very important thing which we are going to discuss next is verbs of complete and incomplete predication. Now verbs that need a word or a phrase to make complete sense are called verbs of incomplete predication or incomplete verbs. Now read the given sentences. The boy runs. The boy seems running. Now what are the verbs in both these sentences? Runs and running. and both are intransitive because no action is being done on any object by either sentence. Now when it is said the boy runs, it makes complete sense. That means it is a state of being, he is running. Runs is a complete predicate in itself. Now we know that every sentence has a subject and a predicate. Now in this sentence, boy is the subject, runs is the predicate. So the boy runs, the sentence is making sense. So runs is a complete predicate in itself. Such verbs are called verbs of complete predication. Predication comes from the word predicate. If your sentence has a predicate which is making sense, then the verb is called verb of complete predication. On the other hand, if it is said, boy seems running. Now who is the subject? Boy. The boy seems doesn't make complete sense. Seems requires another word to complete the predicate. Such verbs are called verbs of incomplete predication. And what is the verb which seems requires to make it a complete predication? Running. Therefore, the word running which is required to make complete sense is called the complement of the verb. So, verbs used with the verb of incomplete predication to complete the predicate part of the sentence are called the complement of the verb. Auxiliary verbs, also called helping verbs like is, am, are, can, could, was, were, and verbs like become, look, appear, seem, think, etc. are some incomplete verbs. Please keep this in mind, it is very important. Next, coming out to try out 4. Fill in the blanks with the correct form of verbs given against each of the following sentences. Gandhiji used to dash cotton daily. Spin. Now this will remain in the spin form only. Gandhiji used to spin cotton daily. Have you ever dashed to Kolkata before? Be becomes been. Have you ever been to Kolkata before? Sneha did not dash her lesson. Learn. Sneha did not learn her lesson. Next, Ritika has been dash in this school since 2008. The form of study becomes studying. Ritika has been studying in her school since 2008. Number 5. Have you ever dash your younger sister? Help becomes helped. Have you ever helped? It takes the past form of help. Number 6. Who dashed my book the day before yesterday? That means in the past, day before yesterday was past. So past form of steal is stole. Who stole my book day before yesterday? Now students, we have come to the end of this chapter, transitive and intransitive verbs, which are also called your action verbs. We have understood in detail how to identify transitive verbs and what is the meaning of direct and indirect objects of transitive verbs, what is the meaning of incomplete verbs of incomplete predication or incomplete verbs, and we have done a lot of exercises related to it with proper detailed explanation. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. Please like, share this video and subscribe to my channel and keep your notification button on so that whenever I post a new video, you get notified about it. Kindly subscribe students. Thank you.